Juggalos in recovery. Juggalos in recovery. Juggalos in recovery.
All right, here we are. This is the miracle meeting. No one has shown up to this in 2 months now, so it's just us four. We rolled on the gym list. Hardcovers available. JugglosInRecovery.com. We rolled on the healing table, and then we rolled for the topic, and the topic is knowing a new freedom and a new happiness. And I believe to be able to know a new type of freedom and a new happiness, the only way to get to that point is to heal from your past. Um, and not even heal from only your past, but you've also got to heal from what's going on in your life in the moment. Like for me, I'm dealing with a lot of grieving with my grandfather who passed away last year. Um, I've been pushing it aside, thought I dealt with it, tried to move on, just accept it like I've done with everything else. But my grandfather was such a big part of my life. It hit me harder than anything I've dealt with since I've got sober. Um, so it's been a new challenge to continue moving forward and be able to be happy. I was at a point where I wasn't able to feel, I was numb. I wasn't able to feel anything when it came to um, looking at sunsets or appreciating some scenery or even music. Music wasn't even affecting me the way it used to. And I ended up talking to my wife and my therapist and my grandmother and realizing just how much it's been affecting me. And it hasn't been fun to deal with. But talking about it, surprisingly, well, surprisingly to some people, not surprisingly to me, it's helped a lot. And then I got to start listening to music that made me happy, it makes me happier, and appreciating it and singing along and being my goofy little self and just having a good, grand old time. Who's next? I'm done talking. Talk about grieving, talk about a new freedom, new happiness. You can talk about whatever's going on in your life, what you're struggling with, what you've accomplished, um, anything.
So I guess that's up for me. So I've been dealing with a much larger amount of stress in my life than normal recently, and that's had to made me reflect on how I manage stress on a day to day. And now that I have so much more that I have to deal with, I had to try to find new ways to handle stress. And I found that really difficult, besides falling back to old habits. Because you know what your baseline is, you know the things that work for you, but when there's all of a sudden more, just doing the same things that you've been doing aren't always enough to help alleviate that stress. So I've had to introduce new routines and new activities that help me de-stress a lot more recently. So with that one, I'm gonna make that go over to D.
Haha.
Okay, so healing and finding a new freedom and happiness. I think that is the baseline of working a program of recovery, no matter what 12-step program you're in. Um, I know for me, I was the miserable glum lot, manic depressant crazy fucker. So I didn't even really know what happiness was unless you count the drug riddled nights and maybe getting laid as happiness. That was my what I thought happiness was. But getting sober and dealing with your past and healing from your past and learning to figure out who you are and what you're actually interested into and what you're trying to do in life, gives you some sort of sense of new freedom and peace and happiness about yourself. And in my recovery, I've done a bunch of stuff that I never thought I was going to be able to do because of my addiction and where it takes me. Um, I've been to lots of shows and VIP experiences, going to gathering, all this stuff, and was happy and free and at peace the whole time. Where if it was when I was using, I definitely wouldn't have been happy, and I'd have been a slave during those experiences to the drinking, the drug, and the party. And, you know, on a personal level, just like the amount of things I've accomplished in my recovery is like a sense of freedom, even though it gives me like duties and obligations and stuff I have, but it's stuff I would have never done any other way. Um, and the freedom just to walk wherever I feel like and not have the thought of a drink or a drug be anywhere in my mind, no matter where I'm at, is something I never thought would happen, because I was a slave to it so long. Um, I just didn't think it was possible for me. I didn't think a sober lifestyle was a thing. I didn't think I could do it. Um, and just in recovery, like being happy with myself, but the relationships I build in my community and with the people I meet, my friends and stuff I get happiness from that. The people I get to help along the way, that are in the places I once was, brings me happiness. Honestly, I get more happiness from other doing for other people than I do just doing shit for myself, which is what I used to do all the time. So it's just kind of crazy to look at in retrospect, like the vast difference.
Mm-hmm. D, when do you think you first felt the new freedom and new happiness in your sobriety?
About 120 days in, about the 4 month mark.
Do you remember when you had that realization that you found something new and happier and different than what you've been living?
Yeah, I was just sitting by the water at the beach and watching a sunset and not thinking about anything particular in the world and just felt like at peace and at one with nature at the moment, and it was just like the things I would never appreciated when I was using.
Mm-hmm.
um, and being actually like content with my life and where it was, which wasn't a great spot, but I was okay with it. Like I was happy things hadn't gone as bad as everything could have went.
Did you beat me to it?
Yes, of course I did. My finger was on the trigger. His video is probably still connected.
There he is. Welcome, Mr. Scarecrow.
Hello.
What's up, buddy?
Not much. I was glad to see there was a meeting tonight. Man, my schizophrenia has been really getting the better of me lately. But I'm still
Oh,
sober. Got like fucking almost 60 days now off the booze. I
that's
still smoke
awesome.
weed like mad, but everything else I put down.
Hey, as long as you're doing what makes you healthier, that's all that matters.
What's up, Ant?
Yeah,
We moved.
and the part
We
I found that's effective with the schizophrenia, it doesn't hinder it like everything else does.
Yeah.
What's up, Ant? Nice to see you. We pushed the meetings back later for people like you over in the mountains on the West Coast.
Yeah, I was saying there was one today. Like I said, I'm pretty stoked. Kind of.
So this meeting is we call it the miracles meeting. So this started when Lainey passed away. And
Yeah.
so we started this for people grieving, dealing with mental emotional health problems, dealing with addiction. And before you showed up, it was only us four in here, so we rolled on. I don't think you've ever been a part of a gym list meeting, Juggalo improvement meeting list, and all it is a table of topics. So it starts
Okay.
with 6 general topics, and then each topic has 30 categories. So you roll a regular 6-sided dice, and then you roll a 30-sided dice, like you do in Morton's List.
Okay.
So what we rolled on the table, we rolled on the healing table, and then the topic on that table was knowing a new freedom and a new happiness. Um, and I was talking about being able to heal from the past issues, your past while you were drinking, drugging, whatever, or past traumas, or past anything that's bothering you up until this point in your life, to be able to feel and experience a new freedom and a new happiness. You have to be able to heal from all of that to get to that point. And I was talking about how I've been dealing with a lot of grieving issues when it comes to my grandfather passing away earlier last year. So I've recently got back into therapy and started talking about it, and I've been able to actually experience happiness listening to music and watching sunsets and little things here and there. Um, so if you have anything on those topics, or you have anything you want to just chatter about, you're more than welcome to.
Mostly here to listen. That's what I get the most out of. Try
That's
not to
fine.
bitch too much. And I'm kind of stuck in a negative mindset. So just listen, get some perspective shift.
So are you doing anything to try to combat the negative mindset that you're stuck in?
I help people still. Like
Mm-hmm.
yesterday, I helped the neighbors get their tarp up on the roof and make sure everything was all secure before the storm. And I do little things like that because it makes me feel better about myself.
Mm-hmm.
And since the COPD flare up, like less useless, there's a lot of stuff I can't do anymore. I lost my job because of that. And that was like getting my dick cut off. That was just fucking not cool. But I'm finding that I can still be helpful. And those are the things that I do for myself to kind of help my self esteem and not feel, so useless or like shit.
So one of the things that actually, when I first got sober, my grandfather actually told me to do. Um, every night before I went to bed, I would write down 10 things I was grateful for or happy about that happened during the day. And early on in sobriety, I was a negative Nancy. I just fuck the world, fuck this, fuck that, fuck you, fuck me, fuck everybody.
Right.
And it was very hard for me to even think about appreciating anything. So I ended up having to start with the basics. I'm grateful I have clothes on my back. I'm grateful I have food in my stomach. I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head. Little basic things. I'm grateful that I was breathing today. Little things like that. And every night before I went to bed, I would make a list of 10. No matter how big or small the things were, if I was grateful for them, or even if I should be grateful for them, I wrote them down. And for me, after about 30 days, maybe 45 days, I started um, noticing that my mind would stop going into the negative as often. So I continued the process until the negativity just got pushed away. So that is one way that I know has worked for not just me, but for many others. Maybe it would work for you too. I don't know. Um,
Yeah, gratitude list. I try to get back in the practice of that. I've had sponsors recommend that to me way in the past when I was in programs.
mhm. um, Chris, what kind of things do you do to stay out of the negative mindset?
Um, I take a look back at the things that I've accomplished while sober and try to think like if that would have been possible had I not been sober.
Mm.
Because I've accomplished so much more now than would have ever been possible previously. Because, like, not even just for the fact that I was drinking and drugging at a constant basis, but more so on the financial side of things.
Mhm.
All of my money was going to feed my addictions. I wouldn't be able to own cool shit or do cool things had I continued to drink and drug the way I was,
Mhm.
because I didn't have any extra anything. It was all just get to the next bottle, get to the next whatever I could get.
What about you, D? Or are you busy doing laundry or something?
I'm not doing laundry. I'm getting Valentine's Day stuff ready so I can hide it.
Oh.
I got a real card and I got a joke card. I
Oh.
always make dick jokes and sexual jokes. So I got the real card that's all like sweet and shit hidden in the bag. And then I got the joke card which says you make my eyes happy, you make my lips happy, you make my heart happy. I could keep heading south, but I think you get the idea. And then I'm gonna put you make my dick happy.
So
So she's
what
gonna get the joke one first.
that's how you're supposed to do it. So what do you do to stay out of your negative mindset or to get out of a negative mindset?
I practice the 3 M's on a daily basis,
The
if
three
possible.
M's.
I might not hit the meeting one every day, but I do the 3 M's. Meetings, meditation, masturbation. If I'm meditating and I'm not sexually frustrated, usually my mindset's good. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, Meditation and music, man. That's like, the main thing, man, for me to stay out of the negative mindset, man. There's always a song that can lift me up or shake me out of something, and just having a minute to breathe for yourself and not be thinking about this, that, and the other. Honestly,
Music was going to be my number two if there wasn't a meeting going on tonight. I just happened to stumble into this one. But yeah, music's a big one, man. It's a lifesaver.
It is. So what kind of music do you listen to? Scarecrow.
Nowadays, it's mostly just all that wicked shit. I've really been getting into Ouija Mac and Darby O'Trail. I'm feeling Ouija a lot. Mostly just a lot of that. I used to be kind of a metalhead, and then I got into that wicked shit, and it's just so much of it in there that I can find anything I need somewhere within that genre.
Mm-hmm. I've been on a weird music kick lately. I tried to listen to my ICP playlist the other day, and like the internal feeling of disgust filled my whole body in like an instant. I was like, nope, not ready for this yet.
And sometimes the light burns.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, so because I haven't even like over the last year, I've barely listened to any, uh, any rap whatsoever. So I've been trying to get out of the depressing music zone. So today I was listening to the best funk songs of 2022 on Spotify. It was actually a really good playlist. Really upbeat, made me happy. Some weird shit in that. Funk is a very unique brand genre. Um, yeah, yeah. If you ever want to laugh, Just go throw on some Bootsy Collins and you'll be all right. He has a song called Bootzilla, and we were sitting there playing a board game at work one day, and he just all of a sudden in the middle of the song says "Yabba Dabba Doo," and everybody just starts cracking up, laughing and shit. So if you ever want a good laugh, just throw on some funk music. It's upbeat. It'll fucking get your body grooving. But yeah, I've been on a funk kick lately. Well, at least today. I don't know. There was something, honestly, with everything that's gone on with ICP, with Violent J and Shaggy, and all the crap that's going on in the public eye and not in the public eye. It's just put a bad taste in my mouth for that side of the music spectrum for me for the moment. It just
It's not fun to peek behind the curtain.
it really fucking isn't. It's and that reminds me why I haven't listened to his new single yet, Violent J's.
His new singles are actually pretty good.
Well,
I didn't like one of them.
I only know of one.
Like
I'm
the one about the vagina is probably the only one you know.
yeah,
That one's okay. It's comical. Clown Blood, definitely darker,
Fire.
more wicked,
Fire.
much better.
I didn't
song.
know that one dropped. I might actually listen to that one. The first one
Yeah.
I won't listen to, especially after reading the email.
So yeah, don't worry about that email. That whole situation is devolving into like full on chaos. It doesn't
It
matter.
doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's stay on topic. It's just I think what I'm gonna have to do is I'm going to have to just go old school with psychopathic and put on the oldies but goodies and just remember why I'm a juggalo.
Yeah. So Anthony, you up for rolling us a new topic?
I don't have any dice, man. I'm ashamed to say, as a nerd, that I do not have any dice in my possession at the time. Yeah, I should,
Oh god damn. Well,
I don't have
hold
anybody
on
to
a
play
second.
board games with these days. I got these badass like RPG board games that we used to play all the time. Everybody just on their phone nowadays.
I know.
Nobody likes to tabletop.
Like I was over at Rob's house and he had picked up a whole new RPG board game and it required you to have a phone app to play it.
Oh my
What the
god.
fuck?
Right. And Rob still has a flip phone. So had I not been there, he wouldn't have been able to play this game that he spent $80 on.
That's ridiculous. I get into one called Runebound. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. I got that and like several expansions for it. We used to play all the time, but yeah, everybody gets into their smartphones now.
Yeah, I know it. There's nothing like sitting down to good board games.
Anthony, are you up for a game night through playing with us online?
I might be able to pull that off. I mean, I'm pretty rural, but it seems like my connection right here in this particular spot is all right. I get like 2 bars. I'd be down for that. Let me write down a time.
I'm about to run a D&D campaign, and I need some players. It's
Okay.
a homebrew campaign.
Yeah, I think something that we should do at some point is host a game series on the pendulum. Do you know that one?
I've heard of it.
So that was a D&D inspired ICP RPG.
Is that the one that you sent me?
I think so.
And it had
be.
songs for it too, like little tiny, like 2-3 track EPs.
No, that was for the comic book series,
Yeah, that
not
was
the
the comic-
RPG.
Oh, Okay.
Yeah, the RPG was released on the website, and back then there was like no nerds, so like nobody's got copies of it, and
Yeah,
nobody has
I'll read.
done online
I'll,
coverage for it in years.
I'll read through it and prep for it, and then we can roll that campaign.
Yeah, 'cause that
Um,
would be mad fun.
Anthony, what's your favorite color?
Black, probably.
Black. All right, let's see what we got here. We got a black and gray with gold.
Okay.
We'll roll that one. And we've got, we'll roll the black D30 for you. All right. So, gym list. Oh, life. The category is life. And our
Okay.
topic is going to be self-care.
Pretty shitty with that one.
What can you do to improve it?
Oh, that's why we're talking about it.
Probably take more showers now that I have an on-demand water heater. I should maybe shower daily instead of weekly or monthly.
That's a start. Believe me, it might just change your life and how you feel. Because I know when I've been out in the suck with the military, not being able to shower or whatever, or having to walk to the shower in the rain seems kind of pointless. And taking baby wipe showers instead of actually showering, and then the very next day I take a shower and I feel just immediately feel better about myself. So it might
Yeah,
actually
when I was
help.
homeless,
Yeah.
when I was
So
homeless, I used to get a hotel every once in a while just to take a shower. You do feel better. I feel
mhm,
better while I'm in the shower. I start to get really sore when I get out of the shower.
yeah.
I just take a long hot shower.
Do you stretch in the shower? Because that helps me to avoid the soreness after getting out.
No, not too much, but I suppose I could or should.
Yeah,
I do sometimes when I'm just letting the water beat on my back.
yeah. Once you're like good and warm in there, just start leaning over, trying to touch the toes, type shit. Stretch out your back, twist around a little bit
I've
there
done
so
that too.
everything's good and loose. Because after that, you feel like 100 times better than just doing a quick in and out, being nice and warm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that I've done that before too, especially after a hard day of whatever, and my back's
Mhm.
killing me. I just let the hot water hit my back as I'm trying to touch my toes, which I very rarely ever can.
I'm disappointed. I figured you'd be pretty flexible.
My hands are flexible. The rest of my body is not.
I could
Man,
surprisingly still touch my toes. I don't think I'm super flexible, but I could touch
I've
my
been able
toes.
I've been able to touch my toes once in my whole life.
Uh,
mm.
And that was when I was literally running miles every day and stretching afterwards. And it took me about 2 months to be able to touch my toes.
I'm an old, tore up man that beats up my body and I can touch my toes with my big ass gut in the way.
Dog, start stretching.
I gotta
Yeah,
start doing
that's what I
something.
don't do.
Yeah, dude.
Stretch.
Yes, stretching is so important. You gotta
and
remain
massaging your
flexible
feet.
if you want to keep moving as a person. You gotta stay flexible
Look,
because
the
at
way I
some
was
point
doing
you're going to give up.
the cement by myself and screeting and doing all this with not the right tools, bro. I felt like I was doing yoga, man. I was squatted down, I was stretched all the way to the left, all the way to the right, and I'm like, I didn't know I was so damn flexible.
Dog, you need to be able to put your legs behind your head, make your lady happy.
No, I don't want to be that. I don't want to
Not
be
that
that
flexible.
No, no, I'm
I could
good.
put her legs behind my head.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you could wear her as a damn face mask if you wanted to, but you need to be just as flexible. Get them deep thrusts in.
There's no lady anytime in the near foreseeable future. If it was, it probably wouldn't be so fucking crazy.
Yeah. Shit happens, man.
It's taking a
So,
while.
what do you do on like your daily routine? Because I still don't understand what it is that you do in general.
I'll pretty much I'll spend a little bit of time with family. I make sure my grandparents have enough wood on their porch. Go and let the chickens out in the morning and feed the goats and the chickens and the dogs, and then lock the chickens back up at night. And pretty much I just sit around and do nothing. Trying to get back on my disability because I lost my job when my COPD flared up. Listen to music all day sometimes, or just kind of try to stay out of my trailer. Try not to kill myself, as honestly it's been on my mind a lot lately. So I just pretty much stay busy as I can, and then come home and go to sleep and start it all over again.
Yeah. No, I know that feeling. I grew up in a real rural, real isolated area, so I know the struggle.
I'm blessed
So,
to have family in the same trailer park here, though.
yeah, that is super, super important. Have some level of connection. So, when you try to spend as much of your time staying busy, how much of it do you spend outside of your home?
Most of it. I don't spend a lot of my days here. I'll
Okay.
grab the dogs and we'll just go hang out by the river because I get pretty crazy staying in my trailer all day. It's a nice spot to lay my head. It's dry. It's got a nice hot water heater so I can take showers, but I just can't sit here all day.
Right. So, do you like go hiking, or do you just go out to the river and sit and chill?
We go hiking, sit back down by the river and chill. I'm really into mushroom hunting for like edibles, not, psychedelics and all that.
Right.
I find a psychedelic if I can find one, but just mushroom hunting, all mushrooms, even the toxic ones. I got a little checklist that everything I've ever identified I've checked off of that list. So that's a pretty fun hobby, and that gets you out in the forest hiking.
Yeah, that's fucking dope. I
And
was
you can
doing
pull a dinner out of the
gins.
forest. It's always a good feeling.
Yeah, ginseng hunting would probably be pretty good in your specific area.
Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, if you can start identifying American ginseng, they've got a very specific leaf pattern.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's mad fun too. And just do that in with your normal rounds for mushroom hunting.
Yeah, I'd have
Chris,
to
are
see.
you telling me that you've gone outdoors?
I I hike constantly. I do like 15 to 20 mile hikes like once a month.
No shit.
Yeah. I'm a lot more masculine than you apparently give me credit for.
I mean, I don't even go hiking.
Yeah, dude, I go hiking a lot.
Hmm.
We
I should
went
do it
to
more
all of,
often.
yeah, when I was before Tox got injured, we were going through every single metro park in the state.
Hey, it starts at a young age with Boy Scouts. Everybody knows the weird shit happens in the woods.
I mean, that sounds real nice, except that I was so rural that the nearest Boy Scouts troop to me was 80 miles away.
Holy fuck.
Oh,
I grew
I'm
up
just
on an
messing
island.
around.
It's like
that's about where I'm at, like 70 miles from the nearest town's head.
these are the cars that go these.
Yeah, I know exactly what that's like and how isolating that can be. And especially if you're not like in the right space mentally, that can be a lot more difficult. The most
Easy to get
important
having a
thing
fever.
that I found during like the worst of my times was just finding places where I could be by myself, even though I'm already by myself all the time, but without that interruption. Because there's a difference between being alone and then being truly isolated. So when you learn where those places are and places where you don't end up getting interrupted, it allows you to have more time and ability to reflect on your own emotional landscape because there is nothing else around. That's the only thing
Yeah,
you've got left to do. And that's when you're
does
gonna
afford me
find,
the time to pay more attention.
yeah, and that's where you're gonna find the root of issues. So like for me, when I got sober, I literally rode out to an island and spent 2 weeks out there by myself, finding out what the root cause was for my motivations. And that was super important to me because I don't think I could have done that in any other type of area. I don't think I could have done that through a 12-step program.
Hmm.
Yeah. I used to be a weird kid, man.
Used
Yeah,
to
I'm
be.
still the weird kid. I never grew out of that one.
You never will. Don't even get your hopes up. It's okay
Uh,
to be weird.
yeah.
I
Weird is
hate
just,
I hate boring normal people.
Well,
yeah.
people tell me like, "Oh, we can't have you working here because you're a wild card." And I'm like, "You motherfuckers just don't know how to use a wild card. You know how useful it is to have someone crazy enough to go on the front line and take bullets for your ass, swinging a fucking machete? Like shit, dude. Wild card could be useful. You just have to figure out how to use it."
Yep.
Exactly. And especially if you're smart enough. Because if you're smart
That's
and
the
a
most
wild
valuable
card,
card in the deck.
hmm then it's real weird.
Very dangerous mix.
Yes.
Back when I was in the military in the Air Force, I'm sure some people have heard of the E4 Mafia. It's these group of E4s that would not do anything until shit hit the fan, and supervision would go to them, "Hey, we need this done. No one's gonna fuck with you. Just get this shit done now." They would get it done, no questions asked. Smart, crazy people. They were E4s like for 12, 15 years, but they just knew how to get shit done.
hmm Roll me a new topic.
Another one?
Yeah.
All right. What color do you want me to use for the D6?
I don't know. Green.
Green. Green?
Yeah.
We got a 6. Emotional health. Glow in the dark?
Yeah. Bring it back to your roots.
15. Let's see. God damn it, Chris.
hmm
We've
What
rolled
we
this one before.
what we roll?
Being a sober role model.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I
You
think that
rolled
was
it?
like one of the first meetings with the dice.
Yeah. Yep. You rolled it, Chris. You talk first.
So this is something we've covered ad nauseum. So this is something that may be beneficial for you. Um, something that we've come to realize that we never wanted to acknowledge is as sober people, we end up becoming role models at some point. And it's hard to accept that us as eternal fuck ups in our own eyes could be something that we end up looking up to. Like, Dee's a felon, I think. Frank is fuck up. I'm some kind of weird mess. I'm sure you've got your own shit going on. But at some point, if you continue going, you end up becoming this stepping stone for people to recognize. They can see that you yourself, even though you've got your own past, your own issues, you were able to do the thing that seemed impossible at that moment. And you're able to prove it to other people that it is possible. Now, we don't ever want to be role models, but if we have something that we can offer people, then sure, fucking use my experience, use my story to help push you forward. And with that, I'll turn that back over to Frank, our own official role model.
Sorry, I had an itch. um, being a role model is very interesting. So one of those hats, uh, from when I say hat, a lot of people have many different hats. Me, I know I have many different hats. But the role model hat was not one that I willingly picked up. Some asshole snuck it into my bag and was like, "Oh, hey, by the way, it's time for this hat." I was like, "I don't have this hat." "Oh, yes, you do. Here it is." There's this bright neon fucking color hat that says, "Hey, everybody, look at me. Look what I'm doing." And it's a very interesting place to be. So, on the meeting earlier today, I told a little bit of my story of how I got sober. Um, I got a DUI, got arrested for domestic assault, got put in jail for a couple days. Um, I was a weekend drinker. I wasn't an everyday drinker. I would just drink on the weekends until I blacked out. And Sunday come around, I get rid of my hangover, go to work Monday, and wait till Friday to get drunk again. Don't really remember much during the week, other than when's Friday coming. And I only drank. My drinking career was 5, maybe 6 years long. So I didn't have a lifetime of drinking and whatever and partying and stuff. I lived a very sheltered childhood, very controlled childhood. Um, That's where a lot of my past my past is as a child is where a lot of my trauma came from. Part of my PTSD stems from my childhood, and walking around as a veteran, as a juggalo, as a father, as a husband, as a brother and a grandson, and um, the creator of Juggalos in Recovery, a lot of people end up watching what you do and learning from what you do. For me, it was a given that my son would start looking up to me. But what was not a given to me was when I started Juggalos in Recovery that these hundreds and hundreds of people would start paying attention and learning from the words that I would talk about. D is one of the best thing. He found me on YouTube, and like it's when I was in AA, I had this guy. He celebrated one of his sober anniversaries, or I did. One of us did, and he walks up to me and he says, "You know what, Frank? Thank you." It's like, "Thank you. What I do? I haven't done anything for you or nothing specific. Like, never physically given you any help." He was like, "Well, I have learned a lot from you around these tables." And this is when I was going to AA meetings like at least 3, 4 times a week. Um, and I never knew like people were actually listening. Like I would go to AA meetings purely for me, and I would just talk about whatever was going on in my mind. And apparently, people listen, and it helps. And it was one of those role model things like, oh shit, like I don't know if this guy actually looked up to me, but he actually learned something from me. So to me, even if he doesn't look up to me and he learned something from me, I'm still a role model of some sort. Like I might have close to 10 years sober, but I still look at D and Chris and I use them as role models for a lot of things because they are better at things than I am. For instance, Chris beat me at arm wrestling at this last gathering, which is bullshit. But apparently, I need to follow him and learn from him and how to be a man, apparently.
Learn how to go hiking with just a backpack in the woods.
um, but there's a lot of things being a role model in general is very, very interesting. Being a sober role model throws a twist in it to me specifically, because for me, I don't have a problem smoking weed. It doesn't bother me, doesn't affect me. I can do it once and not think about it for a year. Like, it doesn't bother me at all. It's not something I've ever been addicted to. Nicotine, sure. Caffeine, sure. Alcohol, 100%. I've never tried any hard drugs at all. Um, I mean, I've taken prescription meds like Percocets or whatever when they were given to me for like teeth issues or pain issues or whatever. But I've never done hard drugs other than prescription shit that's been prescribed to me. Um, so, as a sober role model, specifically in Juggalos and Recovery, I would love to go to the gathering and just hit a bowl once, just one time at the gathering. Just, chill out because I work my ass off at the gathering and, take a chill pill. But I can't do that because I need to be a role model for everybody who's going to show up. And this last gathering, we had what, over 1,000 people come through our tent.
I tried finding you at the gathering beforehand. It was a little more difficult. I managed to stay sober on one day at the gathering. The other times I was
Um,
frying pretty hard.
this past gathering, we were outside of the grounds. We were in the parking lot the whole time.
Okay, that would have been much easier to find you guys. I didn't make it to this last one. I'll make it to the next one. No matter what, I
Yeah.
gotta fucking get
So,
there.
as it comes closer, it will be broadcasted throughout, and you can just email us or Facebook us and whatever, and always ask. Um, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna be close to scrub care this gathering, depending on how everything plays out. Um, but as of right now, being a sober role model, I don't see it being hard because it's one of those things that just comes natural to me. Like, I talk to Anthony the same way I talk to Dee, same way I talk to Chris. There's an issue, I give you a lot of people I've run into. I wouldn't say a lot. Some people I've run into don't like how I give them advice. I don't think of it as advice. I'm telling you my personal experience. I might come off as I'm giving you advice or say that, yes, this is how you need to do it, but I'm not trying to do that, and it's something that I've been working on for years. I just get so passionate about what I'm talking about, it comes off that way. So I tell people what I've done, how, like I did with the gratitude journal. Like, I've said, this is what I've done, this is how it's helped me. It could be something that might work for you. Um, and even just like in meetings or just talking to another addict or another human being who has an issue, like, it's it's a pl- it's an interesting place to be when, one, I'm a very introverted person, and two, dealing with a lot of people takes a lot out of me. Um, but there's a time and a place to where I just have to put my um I don't want to say my well-being, my comfort level to the side and just keep going forward. It's one of the things that I've learned a lot about life in general is between fear and comfort. If you allow fear and or comfort to control you, you're never going to make progress in your life. And fear was one of the biggest things that I allowed to control me in my life. Um, Pain is another one, but pain is a different brand of um, issue. But yes, being a sober role model is a very interesting um, hat to wear. What about you, D?
Um, I mean, it's crazy because I have all types of people that like talk highly of me to other people, and then I find out later about it. But now they kind of do it in front of my face. Just like you know what I'm saying? They'll put me on blast right in front of my face. I'm like, now I feel obligated, type thing. But I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you're talking about the rooms. Yeah, that's what I sit there and do. People, that's what everybody do. We sit there and watch, not just what people say, but how they're actually living and walking, right? Because they ain't gonna talk highly of somebody who can talk good but isn't actually doing it, you know. Because I see plenty of those people too. They can share really good of the knowledge of the book in a meeting and act like a complete ass outside of it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and not living by some sort of standards or morals or principles, you know. And for me, like, I don't know, man, I'm just unapologetically me all the time. And to me, sobriety is a lifestyle, just like being a juggalo is a lifestyle, and I live it to the fullest, you know. So no wonder I'm in a place to be like a role model, you know, to certain people. You know, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, you know, like I've went through the ringer to get where I am, you know. I got warrants in like 8 cities. Eat ups. You know, maybe I got 2 felonies and tattoos on my neck, and I always pay my face. Yeah, Chris talking about my felonies. Yeah, I went through the ringer to get sober, man. It took way more than 2 felonies and um,
Uh,
tons of bad choices and consequences, but it makes me who I am, man. That's my character. Um, it built me up to where I can handle everything now, and you know, I'm the social butterfly, but at the same time, I am perfectly fine and alone, being alone and at peace by myself. So I'm the opposite of Frank. I enjoy my alone time, but I'm in social settings. That's what I am. I talk to everybody. I'm friendly with everybody. I'm easy to talk to. So all types of people always want to come talk to me. And I just, you know, I share from my own experience, just like Frank says. And not everybody likes that because I'm don't sugarcoat shit, you know. Um, I'll ask them, you know, X, Y, and Z. Have you? And then they give me an answer. I'm like, well, have you done X, Y, and Z? Well, no. And I'll be like, well, from my experience, if you do X, Y, and Z, and not everybody's ready for the blunt rawness of you. Sorry, but you kind of have to do these things, or it's not gonna do. Nothing's gonna be different, you know. Um, yeah, and man, I was already like repping the being a juggalo in sobriety. Then I was looking at gathering footage and something popped up with your old banner in 2014 or something with the juggalos and recovery shit. So I went down a wormhole looking for it, and then I seen you like running. Send a video to get in a commercial during the COVID time of ICP's Juggalo, whatever it was, and I was like, dope, I'm gonna send a video, and I already had like my vest made up with the Juggalos and recovery thing and all that, and I was just like, I'm gonna send a video. That's kind of how I just like met y'all and got involved in this, because it's, you know, even in the other 12-step programs, you know, it says we have to continue growing spiritually, right? So I was like, oh, cool, another route in sobriety that I haven't tried yet, you know. And right at that point, I was kind of feeling like stagnant. It was the same old thing, the same old faces, and my spiritual growth was kind of lacking. And then I met y'all, and it kind of like pushed it in a different direction. That wasn't strictly by the big book of AA, you know, which is kind of like set in stone over 100 years. So it's definitely something that came in a much needed time, you know, to help with my growth. Um, like I said, I don't know, man. I never asked to be a role model. I just live what I'm actually talking about, and I have a life that I'm blessed to have, and people see that, and They hold me in that regard. I don't ask to be anything but me. You know.
D, you want to see a flashback?
Sure. Me 2 years sober.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
You got to unmute the commercial.
Did it break?
No, he's trying to unmute it.
All right, let's see.
It's not sharing the audio, but
Still not
That's
sure.
kind of trying.
no, I can
I could hear
only hear the
something
audio
trying.
because of your mic. It's not sharing the audio from the video. It's sharing the screen. It's not sharing the audio.
How do I share the audio? That's gay.
Just
The
turn
little
your
microphone
volume
button
up.
on top of the video, from what I see, but I can't hit
Yeah,
it.
but on the video that you're sharing, there's not a microphone button.
Did you hear that?
Barely,
I
but
could hear
keep
it
going.
trying.
All right.
Maybe too much processing.
I am Ms. Becca. I am a juggler in recovery. I have been in recovery since July 22nd of 2016. It is possible. You do recover. Don't ever give up. Whoop whoop.
I am Diablo the Wicked One, and I am Juggalo in recovery. November 3rd, 2018. We do recover.
What up? I'm a Juggalo in recovery. Sober date is September 18th, 2018. Whoop whoop.
That's my old Juggalo nickname. I don't really go by it no more. So let's keep that on the wraps. I'm not a devil anymore. Even if I can lose my shit and become one, I just keep that animal way away from everybody. Hit me on drugs and alcohol, you'll see Diablo come out. Or do something bad enough to make me that angry where I black out. You'll see him.
Yeah.
Hey man, yeah, man, that was shit. I was like almost 2 years sober. I was just got that car. I just got my license back. Uh, then I remember doing that, and then the commercial got promoted, and I found it on YouTube, and I was like showing everybody. I was like, "Bro, I got put in a commercial on ICP shit."
That's awesome.
I was so stoked.
Gonna have to figure out how
And
to
at the
do.
time, there was like 6 juggalos at the halfway house I was running,
Mm-hmm.
so it was even fresher. And none of them are around anymore, unfortunately. But
Like not in the program or not around.
bro, we're a tough lot to get sober.
Well, I just didn't know if they like OD'd or something.
No, they're just not around. Like some
Oh,
of
okay.
them just relapse. Some of them join
Mhm.
motorcycle gangs. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know,
Huh.
the normal bullshit.
So
Like,
Anthony, you're 60 days sober, you said?
I think I'm more at like 59. I'm getting pretty close to the 60.
All right. What in the last 2 months, what has been some of the things that you've learned about yourself?
Oh, fuck. In the last 2 months, I did a lot of growth in the last 2 years, but I haven't done much of anything in the last 2 months.
So what's keeping you sober right now in since you quit drinking?
I don't know. It helps that I have a brother kind of doing the same thing. He's who introduced me to Juggalos in recovery. So that's kind of a help. Mostly I just can't afford it. And it's one thing, you get drunk one day, you just want to get drunk another day, and then another day, and it just gets way too expensive. I can't really think of anything I've learned about myself other than, I could get through some of the harder shit without having to drink. I used to let schizophrenia be an excuse, and that's been flaring up and fucking with me pretty hard, and I still haven't had a drink, so I realize I can get my shit back together without it.
Well, you sound a lot like me. Finances were a huge motivator for me to get clean.
Yeah, it's just too expensive.
Right. And like when you calculate it out, like on the lowest of low end, when I was drinking literally the cheapest of everything I could get and buying the cheapest everything I could put in my body, I was still spending, $150 to $200 a week on the low end. When I had money, I spent my money on the shit to get me fucked up because I wanted that miniature vacation away from my own reality. And that's what I realized that it was, is I was just trying to escape my reality. I wasn't trying to figure out why I hated my own reality so much. And that's what ultimately ended up helping me get to where I am now, is finding out what the true motivations were.
Yeah.
So have you taken that time to like really think like, why were you drinking, instead of thinking I just shouldn't drink anymore?
Because I call it my fuck it juice. It makes it really a lot easier to not give a fuck about like not being able to make or keep any friends or not being able to form any kind of relationship, always being raped by these fucking voices. It was a good way to not give a fuck was what I was getting out of it. I call it my fuck it juice, but I'm getting better at just not doing that without it, just not caring so much and not letting myself get torn up over all this bullshit.
Yeah.
So
So my last meeting that I did was on the concept of fuck it, is like how to live your life without giving a singular fuck.
Yeah, and doing
And,
that without alcohol.
right. So you have to really take that time and find out, what do you really care about? What in your life is actually important to you? So take that time over this next week or so and just really think, like, every day during your daily, what are the things that you look forward to? What are the things that you enjoy doing? And where do you want to go? Because everything outside of that, fuck it. It doesn't matter, obviously. That's not part of your motivation. So once you can get to the point where you find out what it is you actually want, the things that you enjoy doing, and that can be your sole focus, it's so much easier to just not care about any of the other bullshit you have to deal with. And it's easier to let it just slide off you and not affect you because it's not part of the things that you want in your life.
yeah. I was gonna say something.
Uh,
Nope, must not be important.
Are you guys in the same room?
No.
The
No.
way you just looked over at each other looked very much like you were actually looking over at each other.
No, we are many states away from each other.
Many.
I figured that, but it was just weird the way he turned to you and then you turned to him in the video. But yeah, it's it.
We're connected on a spiritual level at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing this long enough.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So what do you feel? Do we feel like rolling another quest?
I think one more and then we should call it.
All right, I'm down with that.
Chris, you got dice. Roll.
Hold on.
Haha. I just put mine away, so you have to roll this one. Oh, he's pulling out the dice tray and everything, and a big rainbow 30.
These were the only
Oh,
dice I
just
had
were trying
nearby.
to give the presentation, but you can't stand up until you're. God damn it! You're gonna. If we were monetized, you'd get this video demonetized.
It's a game called What Do You Meme? I'm playing it with my kids and my mom.
Oh, you are you pulling out your book too? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've got it on my book pedestal.
Oh, Chris, you remember this guy?
Yes.
I bought the
Yeah,
book.
I got that.
It's the next book that I'm reading. We met him at the gathering.
Bye.
Yeah, I met him at the gathering 2 gatherings ago. The
Yep.
one before the last one.
All right, we're doing mental health.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Uh,
You're playing this with your kids?
uh,
I never said I
so
was the greatest parent.
30. So we rolled a 30 on mental health,
Oh
which is
God.
self-harm.
Self-harm.
That can be so many.
That actually brings back the thought I was trying to say earlier. But this is mental health, not physical health. So we're talking
Right.
about self-harm
And
mentally.
as a result of my mental health, it kind of shuts the
Yes.
voices off for a minute. Gives you an adrenaline / endorphin rush instead of feeling like killing yourself.
Yes.
So I very much had to do with mental health and self-harm.
True story.
Yeah.
So
It's all related.
what I was gonna say is it sounds like to me, from an outsider's perspective, with what you've been talking about, Anthony, is you tend to be your own worst enemy. You're
Yeah.
extremely self-critical. And it seems like from the little bit that I've talked to you and gotten to know you that I'm assuming that you have expectations of yourself that even you can't get to. And I might be projecting a little bit because I do this all the time to myself. Um, and that is a form, that is one of the best forms for me of self-harming myself when it comes to my mental health. I literally have been killing myself mentally and emotionally lately because of my grandfather passing and quitting my other job and getting a new job and being extremely hard on myself because I'm um, not meeting the expectations that I put on myself for no fucking reason whatsoever other than I want to apparently kill my mental health. Um, so self-harm comes in many different ways. Physical harm, I've never really been a big fan of personally, hurting myself. Um, it's always been mental and emotional for me when it comes to fucking myself up, and I'm really, really good at it. Um, Drunk me, it was my favorite pastime. Um, and I feel that in general, humans do it all the time. No matter if you're an addict or not, no matter if you've whatever you have going on, anyone does it. I've witnessed many people who, like my grandmother, like her and I have talked a lot, and I've seen her be extremely self-critical, and I'm like, "Hey, grandma, you need to chill out. Like, you're doing perfectly fine, better than most people in your who would be um most people would be in your current situation. So you need to chill out." Like, it's weird to look back at all the things I used to tell myself and things I still tell myself, and I've noticed lately that that skill of bringing myself down has become a subconscious thing now, to where I need to pay attention to my actions and how I'm dealing with situations, to the point to where, okay, what am I actually telling myself by how I'm reacting to this situation? Because now it's not, I used to like mentally, though I would hear the words in my head, hey, you're an asshole, you're a shithead, you're a piece of shit, you're not good enough, this, you're not good enough, that, blah blah blah. Always put myself down, the normal shit. And I would go and beat myself down till I was, nothing as a human. But now it's okay, I'm good enough outwardly, but somewhere in the back of my head there's still something telling me I'm not. And that's the demon in the background that I'm facing at the moment. Go, Chris.
All right. So I like to break this one down into two separate categories, and that one would be altruistic and selfish forms of self harm, at least on the mental health side. So on the altruistic side, we tend to have this tendency to try to do so much for others that it becomes detrimental to our own self. Everyone here, I'm sure, is guilty of taking on more that they can handle just to try to make others' lives easier. And
Yeah,
that
same
is,
with me.
yeah, that's a thing with most humans. And that is 100% a form of self harm. And the whole thing about us being these caring people, these people that have already been through so much, that we are doing above and beyond what is required for others, is huge. And that's something that you just kind of have to acknowledge and be aware of throughout your life, is like learn where your breaking point is. Learn when to say no or I can't. Because at some point, we all get to this point where we have done so much for others that we're no longer doing anything for ourselves, and we break. And when we break as addicts, it's more likely than not that we're going to break into a bottle, or we're going to break into whatever substance that we used to enjoy, just to try to get us that little bit of self care back. And then there is the selfish self harm, where we go out of our way to do things that we know we're not capable of, but we're so stubborn that we're going to try to do them anyway. And that ends up fucking us up. Like, we're going to attempt an impossible task, something that we've never been capable of ever. But we still have this stubborn brain that says, you're going to finish this thing. You're going to do this thing no matter what. And because of how the way our brains work, we're going to throw ourselves at it until we either break ourselves or until we finish it. More often than not, we end up fucking ourselves up more than anything. And that's another thing where you have to know what your limits are, taking those breaks to recover for that moment, so that you're not doing this harm to your body, so you actually have that time to recover. Also has a lot to do with what's going on inside your own head. Are you doing these things that help you deal with your stress, or are you trying to throw your stress into this task? Because we're all guilty of that too, especially if you're doing anything physical. Constructive destruction is a huge stress reliever for me. And if it gets to the point where you are going so hard into that destructive phase that you end up hurting yourself, that's when you need to take that step back and reevaluate where you're at. Yeah, that's it. I'm done.
Does anybody have anything else to say?
I can't think of anything. Stacy, got anything to say? No.
She's just listening, as far as I'm aware.
She's just waiting for dick jokes. Yeah, but I think that's a solid
They're already
place to
happening
end
here.
on. Yeah, that's a solid place for us to end on. You've got a lot of stuff